Hello, let's start post time skip together. I'm so excited. Oh my gosh. I'm already like kind of sad that I'm halfway through this story. But the first 600 chapters were genuinely so amazing and fun and devastating. And I'm ready to jump right back into it. I'm very thankful I did not have to wait in the actual space that some of you did when the time skip actually happened. But yeah, I honestly just want to see the crew reunite so desperately. So, chapter 598, let's get right into it. Oh my gosh. Okay, 2 years have passed since Navy headquarters and the seven warlords of the sea clashed with the Whitebeard pirates in the Paramount War. This is Ruskana, a deserted island to the northwest of the Island of Women. It sure flew by. It's already been 2 years. Oh, he's got his hat. The ship is ready. You can set sail whenever you want. Okay, thanks. Oh my gosh. So he's like the boss of the island. The animals are all scared of him. He says now that I'm friends with those guys, I can't eat them anymore. Boa, don't worry, Luffy. I filled your ship with all your favorite foods. Seeing how considerate I am, I think I'll make an excellent wife. I'm not gonna marry you, but thanks for the food. She goes, I love your directness. I think Luffy might be the only person that would reject Boa Hancock. Rayleigh left 6 months ago. I learned all the basics in a year and a half. Wow. 2 years later. I can't believe this is happening. Oh my word. I don't want to look too closely at that panel because I want to see the crew for myself. Oh wow, so the other greenhorns are also gathering. The greenhorns who managed to survive the first half of the Grand Line are gathering on this island. I got really excited when Kid, Drake, and the others came here 2 years ago. That generation is wreaking havoc all around the new world now. Wow. It's so crazy that like they're already in the new world, but Luffy and crew aren't. Wow, so Luffy's recruiting? Oh my gosh. Brooke is like a rock star now. That's so funny. Oh, it's Sanji! He's finally around actual women again. Hey, I can't read the manga, you silly. I can't read it. Excuse me. Oh wow, so the Navy headquarters moved? They traded locations with a branch called G1 that was on the other side of the Red Line. The new admiral of the fleet who took Sengoku's place made the decision. They placed their headquarters in the oceans, where the four emperors reign. Wow. And since they left 2 years ago, this island has become a hotbed of lawlessness. So that's what happened. Is that Nami? Oh my gosh, her hair is so long. Oh, she's so cute. Ew, who are these guys? Ew. Oh my gosh, they're at the same place as Nami. Nami's like fat chance. I'll tell you one more time, I'm not going to drink with you. You're not good enough for me. Understand, Straw? What was your name again? Oh my gosh, is this actually Usopp? Oh my gosh. Look at him. He looks so manly now. I'm not part of the weakling trio with you and Chopper anymore. I'll never falter no matter what happens. I've finally become a true warrior. Oh my gosh. She's like the lightning queen now. Oh, Duval. What a twist, by the way. Like, I did not realize I would end up becoming so attached to Duval. He was so loyal for them. That's amazing. Okay, so there's already 7 of them. Nico, Robin, and Luffy are the only ones left. It's no easy feat just getting to this island. Robin! Oh, she's so pretty. She doesn't have her bangs anymore. I'm a little sad about the bangs. Oh, and there's Chopper. Oh, he's following around the imposters. So there's what? There's like a bunch of pirates impersonating them. Ew, dude, what is it with these fake straw hat pirates? They're so ugly. How Chopper is not getting that they're fake, I am not sure. So the impersonator Luffy just shot somebody. Okay. I'm like already annoyed majorly. Listen, I don't need another bad villain, okay? I need Luffy to get here and like humble him immediately. Oh my gosh, it's Luffy! Alright, cool. So the question corner is devastating. Talking about Ace. I'm just gonna move on because I'm gonna legitimately start crying. I'm not, it's too fresh. I'm not healed from that. Alright, chapter 599, 9 Pirates. I love Boa. Or Hancock, I'm sorry. I know, I get the names switched. I really love that, like, the whole island has just really adopted and accepted Luffy. She says, I have one more request. He goes, what is it? I'm not gonna marry. She goes, not that. Go, but don't say goodbye. Is that all? I never say goodbye to nobody because I always plan to see them again. Now off I go. Oh, Luffy. I keep saying it, but I love seeing his smile back. It's so healing. Okay. Oh, thank God. Okay. Please. Please, I want to see this guy humbled immediately. You bumped into me on purpose and you embarrassed me. Don't you know who I am? You made a fool out of me in public. I'm an elite pirate with a bounty of 400 million. Get out of here. Oh my word. This, like, I'm embarrassed for him. Luffy just he just glared at him. I don't have time for this. Fine, you asked for it. Oh my word. Dude, he just used that hockey like it was nothing. So he's legitimately like on Rayleigh's level now. Oh, the Sunny. Robin says, Sunny, we made you wait 2 long years. I'm glad you're safe. Look at that. Ah, Frankie! No! Where's his pompadour haircut? No! You guys, I'm so sad that he shaved his hair off. No! I still love him, but I loved his hair. Oh my gosh, he's freaking ginormous now. Robin, you haven't changed a bit, Frankie. Yeah, sorry. I still love Robin and Frankie together, by the way. Don't light the pitchforks. Don't bring out the pitchforks. They're so cute. Oh, I've changed all right. Just look at this body. I'm the stuff dreams are made of. Behold the greatest transformation of all time. I'm beyond human comprehension. Well, you're right about that. I have no idea what you are. You mean I'm a freak? Oh, that's sweet. Okay, so the ship is already coded. Usopp and Sanji came by already. Usopp went to get fuel, and Sanji's buying food. Oh, they're worried that maybe Brooke won't want to be a pirate anymore. There's no mistake, the Straw Hats look different than they did 2 years ago. But no one else would keep such a strange creature for a pet. They're definitely the Straw Hat Pirates. I mean, okay, maybe it's a good thing that they have the impersonators because then the government will be distracted with the impersonators and the Straw Hats can escape. I'm going ahead of you guys, Oh, it's Sentomaru. He's taking the pacifistas? We never found out Kuma's true intentions 2 years ago, but even after he lost his personality, seeing how he continued to act so strange, I knew Straw Hat would come back to this island one of these days. Now let's go. Okay. He's gone, the green-haired guy. Green hair, what happened? This is terrible. There was this fellow with 3 swords. He said he was bored and wanted to go fishing. I told him he could come fishing with me if he wanted. He had green hair and 3 swords. Was he wearing a sash? That's right, and he only had one eye. One eye? Dude. So he fell asleep on a pirate ship that went underwater. Sanji goes, that idiot. Hey, look in the water, something's surfacing. It's a galleon. That huge pirate ship's been cut in half. You ruined our dreams for the new world. Fate's a fickle thing. Consider that your payment for kidnapping me. Kidnapping you? You're a stowaway. Sanji goes, he's back. Like, I really care. Oh my word. I got on the wrong ship. He's got one eye! What happened? I mean, I always forget because I have his little figurine back there, and I guess he has one eye. But I thought that was something that happened later, not over the time skip. Golly. Dang, Hawkeye was not messing around, I guess. Oh. I mean, it looks cool, but dang. I want to know what happened. All right. That is about all I have time for, unfortunately. But the next chapter is called The Island of New Beginnings, chapter 600. Amazing. Wow. Wow, wow, wow. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Everyone looks so good. I'm still grieving Frankie's haircut. Oh my gosh. I'm so excited. Everyone looks so good though. Seriously. Wow. All right. Well, I'll catch you in the next update. Hello. I am gonna do my updates like this for the last 3 chapters of this mini arc. I've just finished chapter 600, and it's hands down my favorite chapter of the mini arc so far. So we start out, Chopper is officially reunited with Nami and Usopp. He learns about the fakes and that they were not, in fact, the real ones. And he's also really happy that they're famous enough to have imposters, which I thought was funny. And then we go to Brooke, and his manager and all them were going to betray him because he had told them that he's officially retiring, being done after this final show. They didn't like that, but he proceeds to sing anyway. He sings about how Luffy is still alive and going to the new world. Just so awesome. And I also thought it was funny that some of the crew would doubt or be nervous about him returning, because for me it's so clearly obvious that he would never betray them because he made his promise to Laboon and everything. Of course he's gonna come back. And then we see Sanji and Zoro fighting. I missed their fighting, you guys. It's one of the funniest gags in this anime is their little rivalry. It's so funny. Zoro wanted to go fishing, and Sanji was like, no, I have to come with you because you're gonna get lost. Zoro was like, okay, number 7 telling number 1 what to do because Zoro somehow got to the island first. And Sanji was like, you're ranking us by what order we arrived in. It was a lucky thing that you even got here first. Just so funny. Like, I've just missed their banter. The old, like, humor, the Summit War arc is just very much imbued in this, and it's so awesome. So Nami, Usopp, and Chopper get back to the boat. They get to see Frankie and Robin. Chopper and Usopp are just like in love with Frankie's new design, and thank goodness he can grow his hair back. I should have just read one more chapter because I was fully grieving. So I'm very happy to see that his hair can grow back. And then Rayleigh and Shaki are there. They tell them that everyone is on the island, including Luffy. And the crew's smiling faces when they hear that Luffy is on the island. They are all so excited to reunite with their captain, go on to their next adventure. So I'm so excited. I will check in. I'd like to finish this arc today, so I'll check in after the next chapter. Okay, chapter 601. I also really loved this chapter. So we see Sanji and Zoro fighting a little bit more, and then they kind of see that there's like a massive commotion going on, and the Navy has officially arrived at the fake Straw Hat gathering, because again, everyone somehow is like not getting the message that these guys are fakes. And it's all good and well until basically like one of the other pirate captains shoots a Navy guy, so it like erupts into this whole thing. And then who arrives but Sentomaru with his pacifistas. And finally, as much as I don't like Sentomaru, he straight up is like, you guys are a bunch of fakes, what on earth? And everyone's like terrified of the pacifistas. And then at that moment, when they shoot their little scary laser beams, Luffy's disguise comes off and everyone sees that it's him. And Sentomaru's like, no, you're not getting out of here this time because I'm a real part of the Navy now. You guys, Luffy uses Gear 2 and Haki and literally like smashes the heck out of one of those pacifistas. It's nothing. Like, it's nothing. Now, mind you, like facing off against 2 of them nearly annihilated like his entire crew the last time we were here. So this is really healing something in me. Then the other one starts acting up, but Zoro and Sanji arrive at this point. Both Zoro and Sanji. Zoro cuts through it, and then Sanji like busts its head off. So they're all really strong and powerful, and it's so cool. And Luffy's smile when he sees Zoro and Sanji, it's so sweet. Then Luffy sees from a distance, he sees Rayleigh, and he's like, Rayleigh, and everyone's like, it's the Dark King. Which, side note, I'm sorry that I said that Luffy was on Rayleigh's level. Obviously he's not. Like, I knew that. I was just trying to be like, he can use the basics of hockey in the way that Rayleigh used them. So not, obviously he's not on Rayleigh's level, but in the way that he used it, like in the auditorium, Luffy is slowly learning to get to that. Luffy says that he's gonna be the Pirate King. He thanks him for everything. Just such a great scene. And I have to say, Rayleigh's got to be like one of my favorite characters in this manga. He's such a cool side character. I really adore him. Plus, him and Shaki are like the power couple. I adore them. And I just like a really cool guy. And I feel like it gives a lot of context and inside look to how Roger was, seeing as Rayleigh was his second in command. I don't know. Like, Rayleigh, not only is he very powerful, but he's just a good individual. So I can see why he and Roger would have gotten along very well, based on what we've heard about the kind of man that Rayleigh is. So I don't know. I have one chapter left and I will finish it. I do want to add just a quick disclaimer that this is spring break this week, so I don't know how much like sit down recording I'm going to be able to do. I can probably do my regular updates like this. I just don't know how many live reads I'll be able to do. But I do have a couple long form videos planned. I really am excited. I ranked all of the time skip arcs, and I'm going to do a long YouTube video going through my official ranking of them all. And then also I have many notes prepared specifically on Garp's interaction with Dodon in post-war. That's going to be a long video, so also get ready for that. I'm very excited. Hopefully I can find some time this week to sit down and record them because the thoughts are building. I need to get them out. I know I never talked about it in my post-war reactions because I just needed to sit on it. Stay tuned for that video because I have a lot to say. But so let's finish this last chapter and I'll check in. And just like that, we are done. What a completely different experience coming back to this archipelago was than the last time. Still traumatized, by the way, never getting over that. But I just loved this. I thought this was such an amazing mini arc to officially break the ice out of all of this tension and trauma, distance, the crew's back together. It's so good. I loved seeing each and every crewmate's kind of individual that they were with aid in kind of helping them escape. From Sanji's to Chopper had the giant bird, Usopp's the Heracles, or I don't think it was Hercules, right? The beetle guy. He was there. Just amazing. I loved it. The crew's reaction to seeing Luffy was so good. I love how he said that there's so much he'd like to say, but just thank you for going along with his selfish request. Just amazing. I love how they don't need all these words to be said. They all know what happened and what they lost, but what they've gained and the fact that they are now all together. It's just amazing. I really love it. I'm so excited to go to Fishman Island. One of you said that Sanji actually is a doppelganger. He doesn't reappear until after Fishman Island. I am a little nervous. I have been a big Sanji defender. He is being a little wild. We'll see how bad it is in Fishman, but so I'm excited. The crew's back together. Let's finally get to Fishman Island, and I'm ready to see Jinbei again. So I will hopefully check in tomorrow. Okay, chapter 603, first chapter of Fishman Island. There's already a lot to discuss, so spoilers for Fishman Island. So first one, Kizaru is Sentomaru's uncle. Is that a thing? Or are they just, is he just like close with everybody? It's kind of, what did I say about Kizaru being the creepy uncle? And now apparently he's Sentomaru's uncle. And then we also find out one of the pirate captains, like the other greenhorns, is a Logia type. So like, what did he eat? Like the gloop gloop fruit or something like that. It's pretty lame. I feel like this dude's gonna, okay, let me keep going with the beginning and we'll come back to that. So crew is underwater. It's really, really cool. You can see all the tree roots from all of the mandrake trees. I think that's what they're called. And it's really cool. Sanji is already being a little extra. I thought it was very funny because Luffy and Zoro keep talking about different attacks that they would use, or like fish that they want to eat, and then Usopp and Chopper keep beating them because they don't want the bubble to pop around the ship. Which the bubble coating is very interesting because you can shoot like cannonballs and make holes through the bubble and it won't pop, but like it can't withstand multiple punctures. So like Luffy's Gatling or Zoro's massive slice or like a bite from a Neptunian, which makes sense. But the biggest bombshell, and also before I forget, the last bit with Rayleigh and Shaki as they watch them leave, I just love them so much. The little flashback to seeing Roger get on his ship. I think that's the first look that we've had at young Roger, right? And he looks so much like Ace, you guys. It hurts. It physically hurts. I'd ask you guys when the pain stops, but I already know what the answer is going to be to that. Anyway, the biggest bombshell in this chapter is Frankie reveals to the crew that Duval and Hachi were originally going to try to defend the ship. Hachi would guide them to Fishman Island, but about 2 years ago, when all these battles broke out over the Sunny, they got too injured and they had to step back. And who defended the ship but freaking Bartholomew Kuma, dude? Which I'm kind of confused about. Frankie had said that Kuma asked Dr. Vegapunk to program him with one last mission to protect the Sunny. But I'm just kind of wondering, like, he must have been there the whole time, but like, did the Navy not know this? I know that they have the pacifistas now, so they don't technically need like the original, but I would still think, since he's like a robotic program, that the Navy, military, government would still have eyes on him and know what he's doing. And I would assume they wouldn't want him defending the Straw Hats ship, I guess, unless they assumed that they were never rejoining. But that's the only thing that makes me a little confused. It is really sad knowing that Kuma's mind is fully gone now. But Frankie and the crew do realize that they owe him now a massive debt. And there was a really interesting panel with Robin where she thinks the words Kuma. I really want to know. I want to see, someone asked which like crew member that I would like to see in like a more fleshed out story of like what they went through on the 2 years. My number one answer is Zoro, because I want to know what happened to his eye. And I also cannot believe that like just nobody asked about what happened to his eye. But I think at this point the crew is just ready to move on completely, in the same way that no one's brought up Ace to Luffy. Everyone's willing to just respect each other's business. They did whatever they had to do to survive and get stronger. But Zoro's the one I would want to know most, but Robin is a very, very close second, because she literally spent 2 years with the revolutionaries. So I'm very curious if she found out about Kuma's backstory, what happened to him. But definitely just a lot of information here to keep the gears turning. And then at the end of the chapter, we see those same two pirates right behind Luffy and crew. I'm assuming that they are just here for Oda to show off how strong the crew is. I cannot imagine, even as a Logia type, they're gonna be that difficult for the crew to deal with. Loads of information out the gate, but I will read another chapter and check in. You guys, this arc is so funny already. I have missed the crew. I feel like because the last arc was kind of everybody like slowly reuniting. Now in this arc, everyone's fully together and we're getting all of these crew interactions that are just so funny that I've missed so much. So there's a couple really funny scenes where Brooke, they start to descend and it's getting lower and lower, and Brooke is like, it's so cold, I'm starting to get goosebumps on my skin. And he starts to say, but I don't have any. And then Chopper goes, you can't get goosebumps because you don't have skin. And then it just pans to the next panel. Brooke's just on the floor, on his hands and knees. It's so funny. The other pirate, what did I say? I was so right. The other pirate guy, they went to raid and fight the Straw Hat pirates, and then the little like sea cow Mumu, or is it Momu, recognized Nami and the other Straw Hat pirates because he used to be with Arlong's crew, so he got scared and runs away with the rest of the pirates, and only the one Caribou brother is left. He's all scared and begging for his life, so the crew doesn't even do anything. Then he's just kind of there, and then we find out some interesting, and before that actually, the captured brother was looking at Nami, and then Sanji's like, don't leer at our beautiful navigator, and then he gets another nosebleed. Usopp's face, he's like, you're really starting to get annoying. It's just so funny. I've missed this. I have missed my happy, funny, argumentative, teasing crew so much. Then we find out some pretty interesting lore about the currents, how there's a surface current and a deep sea current. Brooke says that if you were to go to the very, very bottom of the ocean, you could be trapped there for like 2,000 years, which is really crazy. And there's obviously all kinds of sea monsters, etc. So they get to, I forget what it's called, like a downfall current that will take them to the deep sea current. It looks like this massive waterfall. It's really cool. So naturally Luffy's like so excited. And then waiting at that current as well is this massive octopus called the Kraken. Right? It is an octopus, but I think normally the Kraken is a squid, so that did get me a little bit. And then the Caribou brother is terrified of it, but then Luffy is just smiling. He goes, I have a great idea, let's tame it. I love seeing Luffy smile. I love seeing the crew interact. I'm loving this arc so much already. Hello. Okay, I'm on chapter 608. I read 3 chapters, and here's what's happened. So, Luffy wanted to go and tame the octopus, so he, Sanji, and Zoro went out in their own little, like, bubbles, because they would have popped the ship's coating. And then, so Luffy one-shots it with his, like, elephant gun, which was crazy. And so it fell, like, into the downward current, so they went after him, and it's, like, the deep sea now, so they're like 20,000 feet, and it's like really dark. I honestly loved it. I'm like terrified of the deep sea, but I'm very curious about what's under there, so I really like that it was like this really, really deep part of the sea with jellyfish and scary sea creatures. So they lost Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji when they got down to the current, but they're like, okay, we'll go along. And then at that, like, amidst the commotion, the Caribou captain brother had like gotten out of his ropes, and so the crew was all like concerningly looking for him, and he was peeking out of a barrel, like planning and talking to himself, and then it just shows Frankie like spotting him peeking up out of the barrel, and then he traps him in the barrel. It's like, it's so crackish and goofy. It's so funny. So they go along, and then they they come across another ghost ship, and they're all freaking out because they're like, there's one down here too, because they were thinking of Brooke's ghost ship, and then Brooke is all scared too, and they're like, why are you scared? So it's the Flying Dutchman, like the legendary ship or whatever, whose captain like cast his entire crew to sea and was cursed. So I'm very interested to see what he looks like. I assume we'll meet him at some point. But they also found, it's like a bunch of underwater volcanoes because it was getting warmer and warmer. So one of like giant pirate people from the Flying Dutchman was about to crush the ship when the Kraken appears out of nowhere, And Luffy, Zoro, and Sanji have returned in their one shared bubble, and they did in fact tame the octopus. So funny. So then as they're kind of about to like duke it out and stuff, one of the main volcanoes is about to erupt, so they're like scrambling to get away, and it erupts, and then there's this like massive trench, so they have to like jump in. And then there's like a huge avalanche, and Zoro was like, let me take care of it, and Robin's like, no, idiot, you're gonna burst the ship coating. And then Usopp has a really awesome moment where he uses one of his new special attacks, and it stops the avalanche enough to where they can get out of the way. And I loved the bit of praise that Usopp got from the crew, especially Luffy and Zoro. And then, so they're falling to the bottom of the abyss, and then it's like surrounded by white light, and then they see that it's Fishman Island, which is so awesome. It's really deep. It's 32,000 feet down. So then they meet the Fishman pirates, and they mentioned Arlong. They're like, well, you guys, we're in a bit of a tough spot with you guys because you defeated the Arlong pirates, but you also rescued Hachi and his companion, and you also beat up one of the celestial dragons, or the celestial dragons. So they're like, okay, so we'll let you off the hook as long as you surrender your pirate ship and go to us. And you guys, this was so funny. The crew starts making these rapid plans to run for it and escape because they know that Luffy is not gonna surrender and make it easy. So they're like, okay, get ready to run, get ready. And then literally the last panel is like, no, you morons. Oh my gosh, it's so funny. Like, I'm so happy. My crew is back. They are happy and capable, and confident. It's just so funny. I don't know. This is prime One Piece with the crew. Like, as much as I think I've said this, and I apologize, but as much as Marineford was beautiful and poetic and representative of so many different important things, and it was so important developmentally, and I will always love it, and that whole saga forever. It's like Luffy and his crew are One Piece. Like, that is who the story is about, what the story is about. And yeah, I don't know. I'm like falling back deeper in love with the story, having been distanced from them for so long, you know? I don't know. Just Oda wrote this in a really amazing way. Like, the fact that you're apart for so long, and then your feelings are that attached to the crew, and they grow. It's just amazing. He's very talented as a writer to be able to make you have these feelings towards characters that you haven't seen. And I always think back, like, those of you who read this weekly, I think one of you said that literally the time from Luffy losing his crew to the end of time skip, pre-time skip, or, you know, back when post-time skip started, it was literally 2 years. I cannot fathom not having seen the crew for 2 years. Like, I was without them for like 2 months, a month and a half, and I was like actively grieving and missing them. So I don't know if you were one of those that were weekly readers, how, like, what was your thought process starting Fishman Island? Like, were you just also incredibly happy to see the crew? Were you annoyed with any of the crew members? Because I don't know, I just feel complete, like, unbridled joy that we are back to the silly, chaotic, unhinged crew that we know and love. So that's the update. I love the story. I'll check in. I have another update because I cannot pull myself away from this arc. Before I get into the reading update, I have a quick announcement on One Piece fan letter. I have really been trying to think and debate on when I want to watch it, whether I wanted to watch it now or wait. I have decided to watch it now. I consulted with some friends. I think that it'll be just as impactful now. I'm really excited. And then I can always rewatch it when I get to the 1000 plus point later. It will be more of like a landscape style YouTube video. I will post either the whole video or at least certainly the highlights or in parts something here. But so just stay tuned for that. If anybody has any advice on how to put in clips, that would be great because Crunchyroll won't let you screen record. I could record clips of it on my phone, but quality wise, I just don't know if that's a good idea. So I don't know. Give me tips if anybody knows of any, because reacted to a couple things before, but it was like on YouTube where you can screen record, so it wasn't super difficult, but this is new territory. So but anyway, let's get into the update. I love this arc so much, and I have genuine beef with anybody who is in my comments saying that it sucked. I love this arc so much. It is so funny. So the crew blasted off from the Fishman pirates because the rest of the crew, bar Luffy, did not want to fight. Well, I mean, Zoro probably would have fought if they let him, but they crashed through the barrier to the island, but it had like a seawater barrier, and naturally this was not good because their bubble around their ship popped. Luffy, Robin, Chopper, and Brook all have devil fruit powers, so that was not good. They kind of like black out, and then Luffy comes to in a mermaid's house, and it's Kami. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy to see her again. She's so adorable. I missed seeing her. And there's also these 5 little mermaid girls with her. Luffy wakes up and he's with Usopp, Chopper, and Sanji, and they said that the rest of the crew was separated, and Sanji, I believe, said that Brook was with Zoro and Frankie, although he used code names for them, which is interesting. I don't know if he did that probably because he's afraid that there could be like people listening. You guys, I'm sorry if this is genuinely offensive, but I think Sanji is hilarious so far. I think just knowing where he was for 2 years over the time skip, I just think that it's like a hilarious bit. I don't necessarily think it's anything like over the top. I just find it funny. And Usopp's reaction to Sanji, especially, like his an annoyed face with Sanji, it's just hilarious. Like, I don't know, it's like I'm just enjoying it a lot. Kami, she explains that she's in a girls' dormitory and she works at the Mermaid Cafe, so she goes to show them around. And I love the panel of her, they're in the turtle elevator going up, and it's just like I love the way that Oda drew this and envisioned this world. This is easily probably one of my favorite One Piece islands, design-wise, that we've seen. It's really, really cool and really creative. Like the water roads that they have, it's just so creative. I really, really liked that and thought it was cool. So they get to the surface area where they see a bunch of other mermaids, and Sanji literally I should say before that, they said Kami, they called out to her, and the panel of Sanji where he just turns and he goes, women. And then it cuts to the panel of them all being there. They're so beautiful. And then Sanji's just weeping. And Luffy says, you're crying more than you were when you left Baradier. And I don't know, it's so funny. It's literally hysterical to me. So I assume they're gonna try to go reunite with the rest of the crew. Luffy's not worried about them. They just spent the past 2 years training. His confidence in them is solid and sure, as it always is. And then it goes to the Fishman pirates again. They're like, boss, the Luffy guy, the Straw Hat Pirates are here. It kind of looks like Arlong. like maybe a brother or like a relative, or maybe they said he was like a tiger shark or something. I don't know, but that'll be interesting. He looks creepy and menacing, but to be honest, I kind of have a hard time like feeling intimidated by some new, like, I'm like, we've been through it. Like, it's gonna take me a minute to feel genuinely intimidated. Like, I'm waiting for Flamingo to show up on screen. That's who I'm scared of right now. Not a relative of our long, like, post time skip where this crew is ready to kick absolute butt. So we'll see if I'm wrong, but loving this arc so far. Sanji's not really bugging me. I just think it's funny. I'll catch you in the next update. Give me tips on One Piece fan letter if you know what to do. Thanks. Also, it's later. I'm sorry, so the lighting is bad, but I'll check in tomorrow. Hello. Okay, so I'm back with another later night update. So I read 3 more chapters today. We are getting quite a bit of like intense lore and storytelling here. I'm obsessed. So Luffy, Usopp, Chopper, and Sanji are all hanging with the mermaids when all of a sudden this like royal ship comes up, and it's the 3 sons of King Neptune, the 3 princes, and they are wondering if there were any illegal pirates. So Luffy and the gang are trying to hide and stay quiet, and then at the same time the Fishman pirates, the dangerous ones that confronted them at the border, were also there looking for them as well because they want to take them back to their captain or whoever. So Sanji, in his absolute excitement and delight, cannot keep his nosebleed under control, alerts both parties to their location. The Fishman pirates try to capture them, and I should also say that they were asking if anybody had blood that they would be willing to give for Sanji. And the Fishman pirates get really angry and they say that no Fishman is going to ever give a human any blood because the humans established that blood in the first place. They had said that because what is his name? He was the tiger shark captain, maybe, who went and freed all the slaves, including Boa, so human and Fishman slaves. He basically sacrificed himself to free all of those people, and then no one wanted to give him blood, so he died of blood loss when he could have been saved, which is honestly really heavy. It really sucks, and that's really sad. I used to wonder why Arlong was so cruel, or how he could be so cruel, especially to like Nami, a young girl. I don't know, just see this very, very long habitual repression and prejudice, ill treatment that these fishmen and people have received, and it's very understandable that they're hurting and they want to lash back and they don't want to trust, give anything in return. And I think that people like Jinbei are desperately hoping to bridge that gap, but there are the people like the Fishman pirates who are just so fixed on their anger and resentment and revenge, they can't ever see a possible bridge. That was definitely like a shift change, I would say. So then Kami steals the prince's like fish ship, and they skedaddle out of there to try to go to the port to try to find Sanji a donor. And the 3 princes are like, okay, mermaid girls, like, why were you with them? And they're like, we're sorry, we didn't know, we thought they were nice or whatever. And he's like, it stinks that they got away because we didn't get to tell them the message that we didn't get to give them Jinbei's message, because Luffy had said that he wanted to see Jinbei. And I will say the artwork when Luffy is talking about Jinbei was really, really pretty. Again, just confirming that this is one of the more favorite, like, more visually appealing worlds that I've seen so far. Islands, forgive me. Then we get to chapter 6010. So Sanji wakes up and he did get a donor. It was from these two twins. It was so funny. Like of all the possible donors that they could have gotten, I thought it was so hysterical. Then we kind of like discover a little more lore about mermen versus fishmen and mermaids. All mer people, I think once they turn 30, their one splits into two legs. But if fishmen have children with mermaids or mermen, then the child has the capability to turn into any one of those three. So very interesting. Then they end up going to the Mermaid Cafe where they meet Madame Charlie. She's so pretty, and she's definitely like one of the she's one of my favorite, I think, like character designs that I've seen. I don't know, I just really love her design. She's really pretty. She used to be a fortune teller, but she gave it up after Marineford because she saw and predicted Marineford. She just can't handle seeing these devastating events happen anymore, which is completely understandable. After they leave Madame Charlie's, they go to the starfish guy's house. They meet up with him, so they go to his house. And then on the way, Luffy sees this factory building thing with a pirate flag, and he's like, what's that about? And he goes, it's explained that the Fishman Island is protected by Big Mom now, instead of Whitebeard, because Whitebeard used to be the protector of Fishman Island, but now it's changed. Now that he's obviously no longer here, they're under the protection of Big Mom, and the only thing that Big Mom asks is for a ton of sweets to be sent to her, which is what the factory's for. Luffy says, okay, she must be a good guy then, if she is one of the emperors like Whitebeard and Shanks, and I wonder if we'll get to meet her. I don't know, that just feels very sinister, and I feel like that's a major foreshadowing event that she is not, in fact, going to be a good guy. And it's true, because we really haven't seen like a bad emperor yet, because we've seen Shanks and we've met Whitebeard, both of whom are, you know, they seem like they were good men. Luffy's had positive experiences with both, but we have not met Kaido, and I think Big Mom is mentioned, but we really know next to nothing about her. Same with Kaido. So very interesting. I have a feeling that's going to be playing a major part here soon. I do not think that she's going to be nice at all. I think we got lucky with Whitebeard and Shanks, and we're coming up on some uncomfortable battles here. So then after that, it cuts back to Madame Charlie, and she's freaking out, screeching that they need to get Luffy off the island right that second, and he's dangerous. She says that she sensed either like catastrophe in him or some chaotic energy because it's Luffy. So she decided to look into the future. She foresaw the end of Fishman Island. It looked like a silhouette with a straw hat that she assumed to be Luffy. And, you know, obviously she doesn't know Luffy like we do. Obviously he would never bring about the end to an entire island of people that he enjoys and loves. I think that there's a great chance that he'll liberate the island in some way if they're struggling. So I'm very curious, interested to see what's going to come of that, but I think I'm gonna have to do a separate video for the last chapter that I read, but that's the first update. Hello. Okay, so I'm back with another later night update. So I read 3 more chapters today. We are getting quite a bit of like intense lore and storytelling here. I'm obsessed. So Luffy, Usopp, Chopper, and Sanji are all hanging with the mermaids when all of a sudden this like royal ship comes up, and it's the 3 sons of King Neptune, the 3 princes, and they are wondering if there were any illegal pirates. So Luffy and the gang are trying to hide and stay quiet, and then at the same time the Fishman pirates, the dangerous ones that confronted them at the border, were also there. looking for them as well because they want to take them back to their captain or whoever. So Sanji, in his absolute excitement and delight, cannot keep his nosebleed under control, alerts both parties to their location. The Fishman pirates try to capture them, and I should also say that they were asking if anybody had blood that they would be willing to give for Sanji. And the Fishman pirates get really angry and they say that no Fishman is going to ever give a human any blood because the humans established that blood in the first place. They had said that because what is his name? He was the tiger shark captain, maybe, who went and freed all the slaves, including Boa, so human and Fishman slaves. He basically sacrificed himself to free all of those people, and then no one wanted to give him blood, so he died of blood loss when he could have been saved, which is honestly really heavy. It really sucks, and that's really sad. I used to wonder why Arlong was so cruel, or how he could be so cruel, especially to like Nami, a young girl. I don't know, just see this very, very long habitual repression and prejudice, ill treatment that these fishmen and people have received, and it's very understandable that they're hurting and they want to lash back and they don't want to trust, give anything in return. And I think that people like Jinbei are desperately hoping to bridge that gap, but there are the people like the Fishman pirates who are just so fixed on their anger and resentment and revenge, they can't ever see a possible bridge. That was definitely like a shift change, I would say. So then Kami steals the prince's like fish ship, and they skedaddle out of there to try to go to the port to try to find Sanji a donor. And the three princes are like, okay, mermaid girls, like, why were you with them? And they're like, we're sorry, we didn't know, we thought they were nice or whatever. And he's like, it stinks that they got away because we didn't get to tell them the message that we didn't get to give them Jinbei's message, because Luffy had said that he wanted to see Jinbei. And I will say the artwork when Luffy is talking about Jinbei was really, really pretty. Again, just confirming that this is one of the more favorite, like, more visually appealing worlds that I've seen so far. Islands, forgive me. Then we get to chapter 6010. So Sanji wakes up and he did get a donor. It was from these two twins. It was so funny. Like of all the possible donors that they could have gotten, I thought it was so hysterical. Then we kind of like discover a little more lore about mermen versus fishmen and mermaids. All mer people, I think once they turn 30, their one splits into two legs. But if fishmen have children with mermaids or mermen, then the child has the capability to turn into any one of those three. So very interesting. Then they end up going to the Mermaid Cafe, where they meet Madame Charlie. She's so pretty, and she's definitely like she's one of my favorite, I think, like character designs that I've seen. I don't know, I just really love her design. She's really pretty. She used to be a fortune teller, but she gave it up after Marineford because she saw and predicted Marineford. She just can't handle seeing these devastating events happen anymore, which is completely understandable. After they leave Madame Charlie's, they go to the starfish guy's house. They meet up with him, so they go to his house. And then on the way, Luffy sees this factory building thing with a pirate flag, and he's like, what's that about? And he goes, it's explained that the Fishman Island is protected by Big Mom now, instead of Whitebeard, because Whitebeard used to be the protector of Fishman Island, but now it's changed, now that he's obviously no longer here. They're under the protection of Big Mom, and the only thing that Big Mom asks is for a ton of sweets to be sent to her, which is what the factory's for. Luffy says, okay, she must be a good guy then, if she is one of the Emperor's like Whitebeard and Shanks, and I wonder if we'll get to meet her. I don't know, that just feels very sinister, and I feel like that's a major foreshadowing event that she is not in fact going to be a good guy. And it's true, because we really haven't seen like a bad emperor yet, because we've seen Shanks and we've met Whitebeard, both of whom are, you know, they seem like they were good men. Luffy's had positive experiences with both, but we have not met Kaido, and I think Big Mom is mentioned, but we really know next to nothing about her. Same with Kaido. So very interesting. I have a feeling that's going to be playing a major part here soon. I do not think that she's going to be nice at all. I think we got lucky with Whitebeard and Shanks, and we're coming up on some uncomfortable battles here. So then after that, it cuts back to Madame Charlie, and she's freaking out, screeching that they need to get Luffy off the island right that second, and he's dangerous. She says that she sensed either like catastrophe in him or some chaotic energy because it's Luffy. So she decided to look into the future. She foresaw the end of Fishman Island. It looked like a silhouette with a straw hat that she assumed to be Luffy. And, you know, obviously she doesn't know Luffy like we do. Obviously he would never bring about the end to an entire island of people that he enjoys and loves. I think that there's a great chance that he'll liberate the island in some way if they're struggling. So I'm very curious, interested to see what's going to come of that, but I think I'm gonna have to do a separate video for the last chapter that I read, but that's the first update. I am officially completely addicted to Fishman Island. I just finished volume 63, so I just finished chapter 614. A lot has happened since my last update. So we met Hody Jones officially, and he is essentially like Arlong's successor, if you will, replacement. He is very resentful of humans. He's basically discovered these like steroid bullets that he can ingest, and it makes him incredibly powerful at the cost, though, shortening his own lifespan. So I found that very interesting. But he essentially wants to take over the humans and eradicate them, put them on the bottom so that fishmen can be on top. Meanwhile, the crew finds Nami. They kind of like raid the little starfish guy's store because he's like, you can take what you want for free, and they take everything. And then King Neptune arrives to invite them to the palace to be honored for a banquet because they saved his daughter's megalodon shark from the Kraken. So on the way to the palace, we kind of learned some interesting lore about why the island is so bright, because it has access to the sun tree. So the roots essentially brighten the ocean even at 30,000 feet below the surface. So really cool and fascinating. And one of the crew members also mentioned that it might be related to the life tree atom, or the jewel tree atom that the Sunny was made from. They wanted to ask Frankie about it, which would also be really, really cool if there was a connection there. Speaking of, Frankie is also, they mentioned that he was looking for Tom's family. That would be really amazing if he was able to connect with them. Zoro is already there, of course. He's already there and drinking. So Luffy immediately wanders off. He ends up finding the princess's room in the tower. Her name is Princess Shirahoshi, I think. Luffy meets Princess Shirahoshi. She originally thinks that he's there to like attack her and he just wants food. And at this time, we are also introduced officially to Captain Vanderdecken. I don't like this guy immediately. So basically, he wants the princess to marry him, but if she says no, then he just wants to kill her. So he's like throwing axes and stuff at her door. Since Luffy had opened the door, it went through the doors. So he stopped it, which thankfully he saved her. And I should say at this time also, caribou, one of the mermaids let the caribou guy out. He ate the swamp fruit. I'm still gonna call it like gloop fruit because that's just funnier. So he captured 3 of the mermaids. He's gonna plan to sell them. This dude is immediately annoying again. But he was with the Straw Hats, so now Fishman Island thinks that the Straw Hats are kidnapping the mermaids to sell them, which is not the case. So they go to arrest the rest of the crew members. They start fighting with the guards because they want to run away, but then Zorro hears it and breaks out of jail. But we all know how Zorro is. You have to like hold this dude back with everything. Even then, he joins the fight. Meanwhile, Luffy is still talking to Princess Shirahoshi. He literally is like, "You're such a weakling crybaby. I hate you." And it makes her so upset. And he's like, "You've been cooped up in here for 10 years." So, because Vanderdecken, he can hit like any target because of his devil fruit. So she hasn't been able to leave her tower for 10 years, which is bonkers. So Luffy's like, "You need to like get out of this room and breathe some air." So he's trying to convince her to leave the tower. And then, meanwhile, the crew has defeated all the guards and tied up King Neptune, which is not good. And then Usopp is, he's reprimanding Zoro for, like, beating up all of the guards. And then Nami's like, "Where's your treasure room?" And then he gets mad at her. And then Brooke starts singing. He's like, "You're not helping either." It's so funny to see Usopp just... Again, he's just like the normal guy in the group. I just love it because that's exactly what I would be doing. I'd be like, we do not need to be making this situation worse. So the princes arrive and Zoro picks up the receiver. He's like, "Okay, these are our demands." So the princes said that they would meet their demands as long as the hostages are safe. Also at this time, Hody and Vanderdecken have created a alliance where they want to bring down King Neptune, destroy Fishman Island, and then proceed to the surface where they can rule there. A dream team of annoying individuals. As the princes are wrapping up their conversation with Zoro, he does say, "Okay, we need you guys to, or we need to pass on the message from Jinbei to your captain, Luffy." He has 2 messages for Luffy. The first of which being, "Do not fight Hody," which I'm very curious as to why. I'm assuming maybe because he has the steroids, maybe. He's like really powerful. Number 2 is he'll be waiting for Luffy in a place called the Forest of the Sea. And then after this, we cut back to Luffy and the princess. There's this loud booming. They're not sure if they're under attack. Luffy's like, "I told you I'd protect you, so let's leave the tower. Where do you want to go?" She happens to say the Forest of the Sea. Luffy's like, "Bet, let's go. I have a plan." So he has her hide in the mouth of her shark as they leave. And the booming attacking sound was a bunch of human pirates hitting the walls of the tower from Vanderdecken and Hody, presumably. So now the castle is infiltrated with human pirates. So chaos and a lot going on. I love it though. I'm excited to see Robin, Frankie, the rest of the crew reunite. Luffy, of course, is going off on his own, so it'll be interesting to see what happens with the crew. They're clearly powered up and very capable, but we really haven't seen like our first major battle yet with the crew with their upgraded powers. So I'm excited, but I'm loving the arc, and that's the check-in for now. I am right before the flashback at Fishman Island, and we have definitely exited the comedic section and are into kind of the meat and the dark part of the story here. So quite a lot has happened. I think the flashback chapter, I think it's like, I'm not like right at 614 or 615. So basically, Sanji and Chopper run into Hachi, who was like severely injured from dealing with Hody and Vanderdecken. Hachi begged Hody not to continue with this dream that Arlong had, and Hody is just so clearly crazed by his desire for revenge and his anger that he just
it's all he can see at this point. He really doesn't even see friend from foe at this point. He just cares about his main objective. Hody and Vanderdecken have officially teamed up. They basically go to raid the palace. And then meanwhile, Luffy and Shirahoshi, her little shark, are on the way to the Forest of the Sea. They run into Sanji and Chopper there, and the whole town thinks that Luffy has kidnapped her, which obviously is not the case. And Vanderdecken realizes that Shirahoshi has left, so he went to follow her to find out where she was at. And there's a panel where the townspeople, the fish people, want her to run. Luffy says, "Don't run. If you run, I can't protect you." And I feel like this is such a significant moment for Luffy because, especially after they were at Sabaody and everything, he lost his crew and he was begging them to run away because they weren't strong enough to fight their opponent. Not only is Luffy saying, "Don't run," but he is saying, "I can't protect you." So he is now confident and sure enough that he can protect Shirahoshi and not have her run away. And I feel like it's just such a big moment because he swore, I mean, that devastating panel where he said he couldn't save any of them, he so clearly wanted that never to be a situation again. I just love and adore him for it. It was such a sweet panel to see. I just love Luffy a lot. It makes me happy when I don't like it when he's hurting, and I feel like this was just a good kind of healing moment for him. And it was sweet to see him want to protect her, even though he doesn't really like her. Anyway, sure enough, he protects Shirahoshi from Vanderdecken. I cannot stand Vanderdecken, by the way. He is absolutely obnoxious. He and Absalom would be best friends. He's so gross and icky. I literally can't stand it. I can't stand it. Like, he and Absalom are definitely the ones that venture into areas of non-consent. I literally have zero tolerance for that. It's just gross. I really don't like him at all. He clearly is a lot more of a complex villain and character than Vanderdecken is. I really don't know what Vanderdecken's purpose is here other than to be disgusting and obnoxious. But anyway, when they go pirates, when they go to the palace, he has a like face off with Zoro. And this is also a moment where Nami sees him and is immediately reminded all of the horror that she experienced with Arlong. And I also just feel really strongly for her. She's clearly not somebody, like, she doesn't like to revisit this, obviously. And I just feel really strongly for her because that's a lot of trauma and heartbreak to suddenly have like thrown in your face when you're not expecting it, especially knowing that Arlong is gone. I don't know if she expected or if any of them expected that Arlong's dream would be still in existence by some of these people. But essentially, Zoro goes to fight Hody and he uses one of the humans as a shield, or one of the fishmen maybe is a shield, the soldiers as a shield. And Zoro says, "Okay, we gotta untie all the hostages because we broke our word that none of the hostages would be harmed," which is a very noble thing to do. I did love that from Zoro. And then Zoro proceeds to have a battle with Hody where he does injure him pretty severely, but he obviously has these steroid pills, so he's beyond even like a fish man scale at this point. He is incredibly powerful. Again, at the cost of his own lifespan. It's really sad to see him this consumed by hatred that he's willing to shave off his lifespan in order to achieve this goal of wanting to reign over the humans. It's, again, like a really good real life example here of the generational hurt that can be caused by generational racism and prejudice. It's a really sad situation, very realistic. So I can't bring myself to not like Hody. I don't like what he's doing, but you can understand why he's doing it. I just feel for him. I do. I feel sad that he thought that this was the only reasonable way to go forward. Anyway, they end up having to leave King Neptune as a hostage because the castle's flooding and the crew has to get out of there. And then Luffy reunites with Frankie. Nami was able to escape as well. They're all at the Forest of the Sea with Jinbei, minus Zoro, I believe, Brooke. And then Robin also said that she's looking for the poneglyph that's at Fishman Island, and she said the key to the 100-year void is here. I'm so excited. I want to find out about this 100-year void so badly. So if we can find out a key to unlocking it, I'm so down. Let's do it. And then Frankie was able to find Tom's little brother, Den, who is so nice. And I'm so happy for Frankie that he got to have this moment with Tom's family, just to provide like an extra layer of closure, especially since he never got to see Tom again. So I feel like getting to see his family or his little brother. His little brother is helping coat the ship and do some repairs. Just a really wholesome moment. I really loved it. And seems like such a kind-hearted person, just like Tom did. So I really loved this for Frankie. Once everybody's kind of reunited, Jinbei says, I have to apologize and explain myself. I was the one who set Arlong into the East Blue. He said that he said that basically fishmen weren't even considered men. Like they were just considered fish for the longest time until a few years ago when the government officially recognized them as people and Jinbei became one of the warlords, and they're trying to integrate and make peace with them. But he says the roots of racism run deep. They really do. And it's very clear how this is impacting the world as we know it. He said it's not just the government. He said that the worst time for Fishman Island was actually during Roger's pirate era because it was just, they would brutalize Fishman Island. He said Whitebeard actually was the one who saved them when he brought the island under his protection. Another reason to love Whitebeard. I'm so sad he's gone. But just a good example that it's not just like a government issue like we've seen with humans where it's pirates versus government. This straight up is just humans versus fishmen. They have received prejudice from pirates, from the government, really from anybody. It's a really, really sad situation. And Nami, I'm gonna have to make a part two, I think, because I'm gonna run out of time. But Nami is just so understanding, even though she's hurting. This is so difficult for her. Sanji also is like very, very protective over Nami. They all saw what she had to live through. They all saw what she had to live through when they rescued her from Arlong Park, which also looks exactly like Sabaody Park. So lots of her. We also are going to be introduced to Fisher Tiger up close and Queen. Is it Odahime or is it Odahime? Let me know. But I'm about to start the flashback. I'm very excited and very nervous to read it because I know it's probably going to hurt. But yes, that's a big update. I will catch you in the next one.
It's been one chapter, and I absolutely adore Queen Odahime. I love her. She's like who I aspire to be. Okay, she should be a role model for everybody. And again, it's been one chapter. So we open the flashback where there is a thief who has just stolen something, and Queen Odahime literally runs and like slaps him. And her body is much more frail, I guess, than the average fish person's. It literally just slapping him gives her a compound fracture. She's like, you can't steal. He's like, well, I have 10 kids to feed. Like, I'm not, like, I need to do something. And then she starts crying and says that she's really sorry that she, as one of the leaders, did not see his pain and suffering. Said that there are other ways to help him. And then, like, he has a total change of heart. And I don't know, it's just such a sweet, like, it's such a brilliant way to introduce her character. The fact that she is willing to A, go out as the queen and handle stuff like this on her own, B, yes, dole out appropriate consequences, but most importantly, empathize and sympathize and cry and reach out to these people that are hurting and figure out the root cause of their problem. I adore her. She's obviously, in her dream, she says she wants to take the town, move it to the surface for a place in the sun. She thinks that is truly the way to make this final barrier between the fish people and the humans fall, so that the humans can see them with their own eyes, not just the pirates that are coming through. Honestly, it's very brilliant. And then she goes back home to her kids. They're so cute. And she's such a good mom. I love her already. I really love her. Then we cut and we see Arlong. I was not prepared to see Arlong. Again, I don't know. It just makes me feel weird. Like we've seen him through Fishman Island, but to actually see a scene with him talking in the flashback, I don't know. It's just it brings back a lot of feelings. Arlong Park was a long time ago, but like I don't know. He was a really terrible, awful, cruel villain. So it brings back a lot of memories just seeing him here again. And again, I can't imagine what it feels like for Nami. So basically, Queen Orihime passed out these petitions for people to sign to get them up to the surface. Arlong is like collecting them and he's like, this is some bull. Humans are terrible. He sees Jinbei and Jinbei's like, give the petitions back. And he is a member of King Neptune's army at this point, like one of his elite soldiers. Arlong has his band of pirates. And then someone said that Fisher Tiger is back. And honestly, like, I hate to say any panel with Arlong is like cute, but like it's just very wholesome. They both like stop their bickering and they both get really excited and they're like, it's Big Brother Tiger. So I don't know, again, just like a really brilliant way to introduce Fisher Tiger in the flashback, see immediately how big of an impact that this man has to these intimidating, powerful figures like Arlong and Jinbei. So, and then essentially it kind of goes into more of like a deep dive where the Fishman district started as this giant orphanage. It just like lost control. It was basically like chaos. And like Jinbei became an elite soldier, Arlong became a pirate, another guy, I think was it Marco, became like a cheat and a kidnapper. Like, so it's really kind of cutthroat through here. And Fisher Tiger, who was kind of in charge of all of it, left to go adventuring. And then while he was on that adventure, he raided the Celestial Dragon's home and freed all the slaves, including Boa. And obviously he was just revered as this hero. And then to help disguise the slaves, that's why they created the symbol of the Sun Pirates. We all know this, it was previously explained, but just like a really, really good kind of reminder and a good segue into this flashback. Then Jinbei and Arlong, Hachi, they are all part of these Sun Pirates led by Fisher Tiger. And there's a panel that Jinbei says at the end here where he says, it's legal to own slaves, but not to free them. And Queen Orihime wants us to be friends with these humans. He looks so angry. This is gonna be a good flashback. I'm scared. It's gonna hurt, I feel like. It's really like out the gate. I mean, this is like a 6-minute video and it's one chapter. It's really good. So I'm gonna sit and read some more. But I really like this so far. So I'm very excited to keep reading and see what happens. So I'll check it. Okay, chapter 622. The emotion is coming. It is, okay. It's getting more intense now. So we see Fisher Tiger talking to the king. He's really, really angry, talking about the slavery that he witnessed from the humans, and he says that he saw human nature. He's clearly just so disgusted and angered by this. We see Queen Orihime crying, and she can tell how much anguish this has caused him to see. However, she is still persistent that the city of Ryugu needs to go to the surface so they can join back in the reverie. And she's still asking people to sign the petitions, but people are now not as willing to sign them because they really love what Fisher Tiger is doing. However, it seems like there's a major misunderstanding between what Fisher Tiger is actually doing and what people kind of are wanting him to be or thinking that he's doing. And we see this, for example, like with Hody. We see Hody and his little gang. They're about 15 years old, and they are very much in love with Fisher Tiger and what he's doing, but in the sense of, like, they're going to take over the humans. They're going to put the humans in their place. So we see this when the Sun Pirates are fighting with a Navy ship, and Arlong goes a step too far, wants to kill the human. This makes Fisher Tiger very angry. We also, side note, see Vice Admiral Borsellino at this point. He's very much the same, just a little younger. I still don't know what to think about Kizaru. The jury's still out on that one. I don't know. He's still like, oh, scary. So anyway, moving on. But, the Sun Pirates are on their radar now, and Fisher Tiger is lecturing Arlong pretty severely about killing humans, because he says we are not going to kill any humans. We're not going to, no killing, because if we kill, then we lose. We become exactly how the humans want us to be. Arlong fires back and says, what are you afraid of? Like, why are you so afraid of what they're going to do anyway? We just need to be even more cruel. We need to be more cruel than they're cruel, because then they'll be scared and they won't want to do anything. It's a really, like, I don't know, you can just see how much this has, like, penetrated Arlong's mind. And I'm telling you, like, this scene with him talking and, like, raving to Fisher Tiger, it's so, like, he's just scary. Like, he's a scary individual. He's really scary. And again, like, because he already had this existing distaste for humans, and now that Fisher Tiger has made this move, I feel like it's just fully enveloped him now. And it's a really good example of how you can have somebody with good intentions, but there's going to be somebody that could use those good intentions to do bad. And that's exactly what Arlong is in this situation. It's just very clear that we know what goes on and what happened. That cruelty never goes away. It amplifies. Anyway, Jinbei hits him to knock him out of his rant, and he goes out on the deck to talk to Fisher Tiger, and Fisher Tiger says, the thing I'm scared of most is the demon inside of me. And you can just see him look so serious and so angry, and like he's fighting against what he wants to do inside. He wants to lash out and be cruel and kill humans and get back at them for what they are doing. It's just so well written. It's so well written, and it's so well done. It's so painfully realistic. And again, it speaks to Fisher Tiger's character here. I mean, what a significant, impactful individual. It's incredible. I'm telling you, I feel like Oda's writing shines the most in these flashbacks. Oda's got a very short amount of time to establish a lot of things and integrate character work and really highlight the importance of these characters from the past. And it's just, he does a phenomenal job of it here. He really does. I adore Fisher Tiger, and I can see why so many of you do. And it's only been 2 chapters. It's only been 2 chapters where we've really seen him face to face. It's just incredible. So things go on, and they end up at this island, and the people of this island ask them to take this girl, I think she's about 11, back to her home because she's too far for them to travel. So they take her aboard, and she's just this little girl, and she's smiling, and it's really cute, and Arlong literally like knocks the crap out of her and makes her bleed, and she immediately takes a rag and starts cleaning, profusely apologizing, saying that she'll work. And Jinbei kneels in front of her and he's like, it's okay, like, you don't need to be scared of us. She basically just keeps cleaning frantically and is like, I won't cry, and, you know, I won't stop working because you'll kill me if I stop working, right? And Jinbei's horrified. He's like, no, we're not, you know, you don't need to be scared. So Fisher Tiger comes up to her and says, okay, put her in my cabin. He changes the brand on her. She passes out from the pain, understandably, and then she wakes up and is like, I didn't cry, I'm sorry, I'll get right back to work. And he yells and he's like, you can cry or do whatever you want. Like, see, he takes his gun and then he goes, we're never gonna harm anybody. He throws it in the ocean. He's like, we're gonna take you home. It cuts to her crying, you guys. Like, I love that panel. I love that panel, and I love Fisher Tiger. I need to go get like a Fisher Tiger shirt so that I can wear it. I love him. It was such a beautiful scene. I loved it. And like, again though, it made my heart shatter for Nami. I was hoping, like, just, you hope for good. I was hoping that Arlong would have some kind of like maybe wholesome moment with this kid, and he doesn't. And then he goes and he does the same thing to Nami, except worse. It's just, it's so bittersweet, I guess. I don't know. It's a really good flashback on how both sides can have both sides of the coin, good and bad. And, you know, I'm really enjoying this flashback. Sorry, these updates are a little longer per chapter, but I just gotta yap about it. It's really, really amazing writing. So I will check in after the next chapter. No. No. All right, we're back in Pain Piece again. So we open and Koala is wearing like a new dress and she got her hair cut. She looks so cute. And they got the log compass to take her back to her island. Arlong obviously still feels no warmth towards her. But we see like Hachi and Jinbei. Hachi especially is very sweet to her. And a lot of the crew has warmed up to her in general, and you kind of see like a montage of them eating together, having a bunch of memories together. So they get to her island, and most of them are sad to see her go. And Fisher Tiger is like, okay, I'll walk you to your village. She turns and she's like, I'm gonna tell my village that fish people are good people. He walks her to the village and she sees her mom. It's a very happy, tearful reunion, but the rest of the village is like glaring at Fisher Tiger. And Arlong on the boat says as well that Koala is gonna turn into just a human just like the rest of them. She's gonna be just as hateful and prejudiced. And so Fisher Tiger takes his leave. Koala does call out to him, which I really loved. They say a final goodbye. And then he's stopped by the Navy. He is completely surrounded. And it's basically revealed that the village, it was like a trap. And that the village would turn him in exchange for overlooking the fact that Koala was a slave, a freed slave from the Celestial Dragons. So they turned him in, and it really sucks. So the rest of the crew hears gunfire. Their ship is under fire, so they all have to dive into the sea. And then we see that Fisher Tiger is so injured, but he's still up and kicking, very angry. Basically, they're able to steal a Navy ship and escape, and Fisher Tiger is not in a great spot at all. He's really in a really bad spot. They tell him that he needs a blood transfusion. Now, this is like really shocking because we were told that it was humans that refused to give Fisher Tiger blood for a blood transfusion because he desperately needed it. Fisher Tiger refused the blood transfusion. He did not want their blood in his veins. He has this very tearful confession that shortly after he left for his last journey, he was captured and was forced to be a slave for the celestial dragons. And like, the whole crew was shocked. I was shocked. I don't know if it was revealed by Boa that he was another slave, that he had freed everyone else during his escape. I may have known it, but I don't know. He just seems so invincible. Like, it's only been like 2 chapters. You get bought into this ideal that Fisher Tiger is this incredible, invincible being, and yet you see him crying on what's going to be his deathbed, saying that he was a slave. He says that he can't get over the demon inside himself, that he will never love humans. He hates them and he will never love them. And you guys, it's so devastating. It's so devastating. And yet even then he says that what Queen Orihime wants is what everyone should want, because she wants peace and that's all that he wants. But like, he recognizes that he cannot accept that. But what an incredible man to do what he did and not harm humans, to free slaves. Even, I mean, he chose to stay good. I mean, it's really like the opposite of Arlong, right? I mean, it's just devastating. So he dies. He dies because he didn't want a blood transfusion. So it's like, oh, it's so sad. It's so sad. My goodness. I'm in shock. I mean, obviously I knew he died, but I was not expecting him to be the one that A, refused the transfusion, and B, straight up was like, I'm never gonna love humans. And it's so sad too that all the atrocities that humans create and do daily that like doesn't get touched, yet with Fisher Tiger, it takes one of them. If one of them were to step out and do something bad, then it's like the whole lot of them is bad. Again, just very painfully realistic stuff. It's just sad, and it really does make Queen Odahime's dream feel like a pipe dream. It's like, how on earth can they bridge the gap? But they did ask Koala, I think Jimbei asked her, like, what would make, like, why do your people not like us? Why do they fear us? And she says they don't know. And that's Queen Odahime's, like, whole thing, is she's like, people fear what they don't know. So that's why she desperately wants to get more fish people up to the surface so that, the humans can see who they are and what they are, and see that they're not these like scary savages that the government is telling everybody they are. So I don't know, man. Heavy stuff. I'm so sad that we only got him for 3 chapters. I know it's a flashback, but if I feel this devastated, I mean, imagine how people like Hody or the rest of Fishman Island feels. I mean, it brings a lot of clarity. I mean, even to somebody like Hachi, I feel like, who clearly has a good heart, you can see how he would be corrupted by this traumatizing death of his beloved captain. Like, you can see why he would go with Arlong, choose to succumb to that hatred that he feels and that anger and sadness. So just really, really, really good writing. Lots of really important conversations. you know, tons of important conversations and topics could be spurned from literally just this flashback, but from the arc in general. And I'm very curious to see how our beloved Luffy can help humanity, Fishmen, bridge that gap. I mean, if there's one human who could do it, it would be Luffy. But realistically, it's going to take longer than that and a lot more work from both sides. So, time to continue. We've lost Fisher Tiger. I feel like Queen Orihime is next. We'll see what happens. I'll check in. Who the heck is Joy Boy? So I finished the flashback. It was very sad. I plan to do a video. I'm gonna do a TikTok video and a YouTube video talking about this flashback in depth. Basic notes: I love Queen Orihime and I love Fisher Tiger. I think that these two were so brilliantly written and portrayed. This was not a very long flashback by any means, but I don't think I've been this affected. No, I can't say that because Post Wars was really intense, but it almost is like on the level of Robin's, I think, for me. It was so incredibly impactful, beautifully written, even though it was devastating. But essentially, we wrap up the flashback. Nami and Jinbei have this really amazing discussion where Nami's like, well, I can't hate you because you're just a fish man. That's ridiculous. It's because of your actions or what you do. You're friends with Luffy. I can tell you're a good person. And that means so much to Jinbei. It's really sweet. And there's so much emphasis on like the next generation breaking down these walls with fish. I think that there's hope. Even somebody like Nami, right, who was directly impacted by Arlong, she has this view where she's not gonna hate all fishmen because of one bad experience. And I think it gives Jinbei a lot of hope for the future that Queen Orihime wanted. But it's basically announced, basically broadcasts and says that he's going to execute the king. He's taking over Fishman Island. Anybody who signed Queen Orihime's petitions are going to be executed or banished, whatever. He is totally off the deep end at this point. But it cuts to Robin suddenly. It's announced also the Straw Hats are captured. Zoro, Brook, and Usopp. Luffy wants to go and rescue them. Jinbei's like, no, you can't go and fight Hody. It would be disastrous. And then it cuts to Robin. She's sitting at the poneglyph. This one is written almost like a letter or an apology. Who is Joy Boy? I feel like this is significant. So is he the author of these poneglyphs, or is he just the author of one poneglyph? I'm very curious. I'll check in. Also, a couple quick notes from the flashback. Shirahoshi's power, really cool. I hope we get to see it. Vanderdecken is an absolute creep, in case that was not established. And I'm calling it. I don't know. It feels a little wrong to say this. I hope I'm not wrong. I think that Hody was behind the pirate that killed Queen Orihime, because that was such a random thing, and I feel like it wouldn't have been as odd if the petitions weren't burned. I think that he burned all the petitions and then somehow got that pirate to shoot her, because it just seemed like so random and out of left field that there would be this random human pirate there. But I don't want to like considering the source material here, I don't want to like be disrespectful and be like, it was the fishmen framing the humans for this. But you know what I mean? Like, it just seemed odd. It seemed like a very orchestrated thing. So that's my prediction. I am hitting hyperdrive through this arc. My birthday is on Monday, and I want to be done with Fishman Island like by this weekend. So be prepared. I'm going to be reading some bigger chunks to get this arc done, not because I'm not enjoying it, but because I actually want to just sit and read it in chunks. So we'll check in and see if I'm right. What did I say? What did I say? I knew it. I knew it. I knew Hody was behind it. Well, partly. I was partly wrong. So he bribed the pirate to burn the petitions, and then while everyone was distracted, he's the one who fired the shot that killed Queen Orihime. He didn't like convince the pirate or blackmail him or whatever, which is wild. Which is wild, but I guess it makes sense. It's like the foundational thing that is showing that Hody would, so he's, I mean, Hody is worse than Arlong in the sense that now he'll attack anybody who disagrees with him. Arlong didn't harm like a fellow fishman, but Hody does. And listen, Hody's getting on my damn nerves. I'm trying to like stay not angry at him, but he really is crazy. So, and plus he like basically overdosed on these pills, and now he's like not even a fishman anymore. He's like ridiculously overpowered, even more so than he already was. I mean, he's a good villain. He's a good villain in my opinion. He's just okay. Enough. It's time to get humbled, you guys. And then also, which someone told me in the comments, so it's not like a huge spoiler, but we also did get confirmed that Madame Charlie was Arlong's sister. Crazy. And then I was so mad when Hody shot at her. I was so mad. I'm like, no, not Madame Charlie. I love her. So dude, it's crazy. We're so back. The crew, Luffy jumping out of Megalo. So Megalo is the one. I'm like reading. This is the problem when I read too much. Then there's like too much that I'm trying to get caught up on. Shirahoshi knew that Hody was the one that killed her mother because Megalo saw Hody do it and then told Shirahoshi. She didn't say anything because it was her mom's dying wish that they not hate the culprit. So she sat there while Hody was like, you idiot, this is now your fault. All your family's gonna die because you didn't say anything. He attacks her family, and then everyone starts calling out for Luffy to come and like destroy the island because they're like, we're cooked if he doesn't. So like, we'd rather destroy the island now than like have ourselves be subjected to Hody's reign of terror. Dude, Luffy comes out of Megalo and freaking smashes the heck out of Hody. He kicks him, and then there's like a final thing where Luffy's like, friend or foe, you guys can decide for yourself. It's the whole crew there. I love I love this manga. I love this story. Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. This is like our first big like crew battle fight, I think, right? Like, I mean, since before Summit War. So it's been a fat minute. I'm so excited. I'm so ready to see everybody like in action. I'm hyped, but I'm also very excited and happy that I was right about Hody, because I was like, that just seemed like too convenient that it would be a human that killed the queen. So I love this story. So yes. I don't think I have any more time to read today. I'll probably read later and then update you guys tomorrow, but that was awesome. If you did not like Fishman Island in the anime, I am begging you with everything in me to go and reread it in the manga. Please. It is so good. It is so good. I'm almost done. I just reached the end of the battle, and I'm telling you guys, every single person can learn something from this arc. Every single person. This whole arc is about how sowing seeds of hatred only lead to more hatred. Instead, you need to sow seeds of kindness, and this is so important, you guys, in this day and age, especially in this age of technology where I feel like younger minds have become so desensitized and apathetic to the things happening around us. Choose kindness, whether it is in the day-to-day interactions or what you type when you're behind a keyboard or how you talk about another person or a group of people. You need to choose kindness, because what you say does impact. What you say does have consequences, and it is up to you whether they are good or bad. So please read this arc, really take the time to understand it, to comprehend it. It makes you want to be a better person. This is the kind of thing that we all need to be reading and trying to apply to our own selves. It really is making me reflect on how am I as a parent, how am I speaking to my kids, how am I representing my inner dialogue in an outward way, right? I have many thoughts on Fishman Island, and I will be sharing all of them. Y'all are gonna be sick of me talking about this arc, but it's just gold. It's phenomenal. This is not some corny goofball show. This is real world stuff in this story. It's a breath of fresh air, and it's just I love One Piece. I love One Piece. I love Jinbei. That final panel at the end of the battle. It's so good. So, read Fishman Island, okay? We'll talk soon. Oda is doing it again. He's doing the thing where you get through the end of the arc and then he's like piling on groundbreaking, mind-blowing stuff. Okay, first of all, holy cow, you guys, this is crazy. Okay, so first of all, Robin had a conversation with Neptune about Joy Boy, and he's like, okay, I'll tell you everything that I know, but you have to keep it a secret. So apparently Joy Boy was a person that lived during the 100-year void, and he was going to do something with the Noah, but then he apologized, which is what he said on the poneglyph, and he's like, I can't, but someday someone will be able to do that. So Fishman Island has been protecting the Noah for that day. Very interesting, very interesting. And then also the secret weapon that was located in Fishman Island that Robin read about in Skypiea is Shirahoshi. Her other name is Poseidon. I'm assuming because she can control the Neptunians. So fascinating, so fascinating. So they said that one day a guy would come along, and I think they said that that person would finally awaken Shirahoshi's powers. So I'm curious then if there's a connection between Joy Boy and Luffy, because Luffy was the reason why Shirahoshi was able to do this. And then if somehow Luffy and this Joy Boy are connected, I'm also really curious about the Will of D and if that's related to any of it. It may not be, but very interesting stuff. I love it. So then the next bomb that's dropped, Akainu and Aokiji had this massive 10-day long fight over who was going to be the next fleet admiral, and Akainu won! No! No! You guys, I was so excited that Aokiji was picked by Sengoku. I was so relieved that it wasn't Akainu. And you're telling me that Akainu won? And then he couldn't even finish off Aokiji. He was like, he couldn't bear to do that to his brother in arms. And I'm like, okay, what the hell? You had no problem killing and beating up everyone else that was in your way. I'm so mad. I'm so mad. So, oh my gosh. And then so Blackbeard is also like on his reign of terror, and they're stealing devil fruit powers because apparently they can still do that somehow. With his, like, darkness fruit, can he have... So is he collecting? Like, does he have multiple devil fruit powers? And he's officially another emperor. This is, like, literally getting worse by the second. So I'm, like, reeling from all of this. And then Big Mom's pirates come in. And they're like, okay, we need the 10 tons of candy for our big back pirate mom. And then they're like, oh yeah, sorry, our island was, kind of going through some stuff. We can't have it. Can we, like, skip it this once? And so then we see Big Mom, dude. I mean, I guess I know now why she's called Big Mom. This chick is ginormous. Ginormous, and she's terrifying. I had a feeling that she was not going to be good. And yeah, she's actually horrifying. Her name is Charlotte Linlin, but she goes by Big Mom. And her island is called Whole Cake, which I guess makes sense, because because she loves to eat sweets. And so then Luffy's like, whoa, 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 whoa. You're not gonna destroy this island because of some sweets. Like, I just saved it. So Big Mom calls up Fishman Island, and Luffy answers the phone. And he, like, has it out with Big Mom on the phone. And he's like, uh, I ate all 10 tons, and you can have this treasure I just got. I don't really care, but you're not gonna come here and destroy this island that I just saved. That's ridiculous. And then, straight up, he was like, I'm gonna go to the New World, and I'm gonna beat your butt, and then I'm gonna say that Fishman Island is under my protection. He's pissed, you guys. He's pissed. I feel like, I know, like, a lot of people were, like, kind of wishing that the crew reunion was more normal, and I'll go into this, I think, as I talk more in depth about Fishman Island, but I feel like the whole point of this was that the crew didn't want to ruminate on the past, and then I do find it quite interesting that Oda kind of thrust them to this next island that is quite literally all about the past and not dwelling on the past and paving a path forward. I thought it was very appropriate fitting, but looking back on it, I can see why a lot of you maybe thought that it dragged, considering it was like a 2 year, especially for like the weekly readers. I can understand. I binged it and loved it. But I also did the same with Skypiea, and a lot of you guys were like, it goes on a long time. And if you're a weekly reader, that's a long arc. And if it's even longer in the anime, like, that's crazy. But anyway, just to see Luffy, I mean, he was really, really angry at Hody, but just to see this, like, declaration of war on one of the emperors, very, very interesting. And especially because he's like, oh, I'd love to meet her, you know, because he has this idea in his head about Shanks and Whitebeard and how they were these great men. They are, you know, Shanks is still hopefully a great guy. We haven't met Kaido. I don't have a good feeling about Kaido. Oh, Big Mom is terrifying, dude, and she like ate one of her henchmen. This is freaky. So I guess Big Mom is gonna be the new. Listen, Luffy doesn't need any more enemies. He's already got all this beef with Blackbeard. We haven't really met Kaido. I mean, I can't imagine he would fight with Shanks. That seems silly. Akainu is the new. I'm so mad about that, guys. I'm so mad. And apparently, the only good side of that is that apparently he got like super injured during that fight because they were so well matched. So I'm like, okay, maybe he's like this crippled older man now, and he like can't fight as good. I doubt it because he's a psychopath. You're never gonna see me defend Akainu, okay? It's not gonna happen. those, you know, and that's probably immature for me to say after the arc that I just read. I'm learning still, okay? But yeah, my mind is blown. So Joy Boy and Luffy, maybe. Akainu won the fight, and Big Mom is terrifying, and Luffy hates her now. So I also forgot to add that Jinbei's, when he's like reviewing all this information with Luffy, and Luffy's like not even listening, he's eating, and Jinbei gets really mad at him, and he's like, you're a captain, you're supposed to be educated on this stuff. And then Chopper's like, oh, you mean a captain like doesn't ignore everything? And then Jinbei's like, oh, you guys, I'm so sorry. Like, he can't believe that Luffy's this way, because Luffy's like, don't worry, I like to take chances when I can. It's so funny. I need Jinbei to join the crew. He's like, I always said that like Frankie is dad and Robin is mom, but Frankie really is like big brother compared to Jinbei. Jinbei's so like, he's been around the block, he's experienced. I love him. I think Jinbei is my second favorite Straw Hat after Robin, which is crazy to me, but every scene that he's in, I love. I mean, he's such a wise, kind character. Like, I feel like he's like the missing piece that the crew needs. He's this experienced, calm, confident individual. He's very powerful. It would be really amazing if he joins the crew, which I guess he plans to. He just says he has stuff to finish up, but I'm so excited. I love Jinbei so much. So, yeah, I had to throw that in there because that was a really great bit. But yeah, I'll check in. I just read chapter 653, and oh my goodness, I am ready to stand up and give Oda a round of applause for the crew's entrance into the new world. It was brilliant. So, before I talk about that, let's do a recap. We are done with Fishman Island officially. Can't believe it. I loved that arc. I will always love it. Jinbei has a conversation with Neptune about kind of what the future looks like for Fishman Island and for Jinbei himself. And Jinbei does say that he intends to take Luffy up on his offer, which is incredible. I love Jinbei, but he wants to make sure that Fishman Island is in safe hands first. So he is kind of in cahoots with the Big Bomb Pirates for the sole purpose of protecting Fishman Island. And he's nervous that the whole sweet debacle is going to put them in the line of fire. And then they also find out that the treasure that Luffy got, there's a bomb planted in one of the boxes in there. So they were trying to warn Luffy, but then Luffy marched in and was like, "Oh, I gave it all to Big Mom." So they're panicking, freaking out. One of them is gonna open the box, and Big Mom is gonna think it's a direct attack, and they don't want to tell the rest of the crew because like Usopp and Chopper especially are already like so despairing over the fact that they're enemies with an emperor now. But anyway, so it ends up being a pretty good wrap with Fishman Island. Nami is given a log pose specifically for the new world because the weather, the currents, and the magnetic like fields and zones all change. So it now needs like a log pose with three different needles on it instead of one. And I think they said that one was like indicated danger, and they were all hoping that Luffy went over here, and Luffy got all excited, and he's like, "Oh, let's go to the dangerous island." And they're all despairing because, they're like, "Please be normal for once, be a normal captain." They head off, and I thought that the goodbye with Shirahoshi as well was so sweet. I really adore Shirahoshi. I think there's a lot of potential for her character if she matures a little bit and, if she's able to gain control over this power with the Sea Kings. Very interesting. There's a ton of potential for her character. Like, kind of like Vivi in a sense. Like, I would love to see kind of that maturity that has taken hold in Vivi and Shirahoshi. But I really loved that she pinky promised with Luffy that he would come back and take her on a trip maybe to the surface or a real forest, and the rest of the crew joined in as well. And just very, 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 very sweet. It reminded me as a whole of the goodbye from Alabasta. Really, really enjoyed it. And so then they left off and are on to the next island. And while Nami is taking a much deserved bath in the sunny, the guys decide that they want to go fishing for these deep sea creatures to eat. So they catch one fish, which then gets eaten by a bigger fish, which then gets eaten by a bigger fish, and it literally starts to weigh the ship down. And then, in the midst of the chaos, something called a white storm appears, which is like a super crazy, deadly current that can rip the passengers out of the ship and leave an empty husk. And Luffy's like, "Oh, so it's like a warp zone, a magical warp zone." And everyone's like, "Please, again, please be normal. Don't do this." So it's too late to do anything. So they get sucked into it. And then all of a sudden, they stop and it's a herd of laboon whales. I was so excited, you guys. Oh my gosh, which it kind of made me sad that Laboon is trapped where he is and he can't like be reunited with the whale herd that he belongs to. But I really loved this for Brooke because obviously Brooke has not seen Laboon or anything like that, and he was just very, very emotional, and he immediately started to sing Binks Brew. Brooke is probably my least favorite Straw Hat, not because I don't like him, but I think his some of his like humor or jokes kind of grate on me a little bit. But overall, he's a great character and I adore him. If I had to pick a least favorite, it would probably be Brooke. But I just really, really loved this for him. I feel like it was like a great healing moment for him to sing his Being Spruce song in the midst of the whales, and one of the whales gives them a ride, and they make their entrance into the new world, and the weather is terrible, but they're like, bring it on, we're ready. Oh, such a great moment, you guys. It was so good. So I'm about to read chapter 654, which is called Punk Hazard, which is also the name of our next arc. So I'm very curious to see what this arc is going to be all about, and this will take us right up to chapter 700. So we are chugging right along. So that is all for now. I will check back in with my very first update for Punk Hazard.